One of the best pieces of advice I think my dad gave me as a kid is that there is no lesson better learned than a lesson learned through experience. And our country has gone through some very dramatic learning experiences regarding this virus. Do you think that there's anything that could be learned regarding how we handle the coronavirus and how we handle our business?
It forces you to learn some things in your business. There could be definitely a correlation between things that you learn from the way that the country is handling the unexpected and the way that you could handle unexpected things in your business.
All right, well, let's take a good look and see what we can uncover. Stay tuned.
This is Mikel-Claire.
And this is Trey.
And we are the couple of entrepreneurs. We're here to share with you our journey of successes and setbacks as we enter the world of entrepreneurship now that we no longer have 9-to-5s due to the new normal of the world and the pandemic.
Join us as we race the clock to start earning money, gain consistency, and overcome self-doubts and uncertainty as we search for our voices and obtain personal and financial growth.
All right. Hey, so how are you holding up with all of this virus stuff still going on?
I just take it one day at a time, just trying to figure out what's next. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, that feeling of overwhelm is something that I think relates directly to starting a business and becoming an entrepreneur. And that is, like the virus, we just didn't really see it coming, and even if some of us did kind of see it coming, if you were paying attention to the news a couple of weeks before the virus hit the United States, it still was a little bit bigger and more serious than most people previously thought it could be. And I'm wondering, seeing as how we're both like trudging off into like unknown waters of entrepreneurship, even if there were warnings on the wall per se regarding how to handle building your business, are you prepared for the unexpected?
I wouldn't say that I'm prepared. It definitely is a lesson that I've learned from this experience. I didn't prepare beforehand because I didn't see it coming. But what it's taught me is that you need to prepare for a rainy day. You need to prepare for the unexpected. So I think that's the biggest lesson as far as preparedness that I got from it.
Right.
But there's no way to kind of foresee what could possibly happen. But all you can do is do your best to kind of think of things that may happen,
right,
and then kind of save for that or put away for that or prepare for that. Do you think there's any way to expect the unexpected? And how do you prepare for something that you don't foresee?
Well, the whole nature of being an entrepreneur is problem solving for the most part. So you're constantly being bombarded by issues and change ups and things that need to be adjusted, and scrapping one plan and building a whole new one to maintain and manage all of the changes that entrepreneurship brings. I don't think that you can just look into some crystal ball of business making and look into the future and then address that. But I do think that you can kind of prepare in some way. Let's just take the coronavirus affecting our country as an example. Even though you may not necessarily be all the way prepared for what happened, there's things that you can maybe check regarding your household. Do you have a little extra money stashed away on the side to pay for bills or gas, or maybe an unexpected trip that you might have, or even a rainy day fund for paying for rent and a cell phone and bills and things of that nature? Having a panic plan per se. I've got a friend of mine that has a panic backpack. So when things go crazy, he can just hop on his bicycle, have a couple of bucks and some supplies and get out of there. Now, I do think that that's pretty extreme, but he does have a plan, and you can kind of have a plan for your business too if something unexpected happened. I mean, there is the correlation between you and your business and how we as citizens of our country are dealing with this pandemic. But please don't feel that you're going to just jump into something and not have any idea of how to prepare for things that you don't see coming. I think you got to have some general ideas, some shabby safety net per se to help get you over the hump.
One of the things that kind of goes along with what you're mentioning is being flexible and knowing how to maneuver in a different direction when necessary. Having that mindset of flexibility, being able to adjust or to adapt given a different situation or a difficult situation or something that may be different than what you're used to. Mm-hmm. I think creating that kind of mindset is a lesson that some people have learned from this whole pandemic.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. You have to be able to have the flexibility to change directions. And one of the great things about being an entrepreneur as compared to having like a really big, huge business is being an entrepreneur, you can make moves and adjustments pretty quickly. Whereas like these big behemoth companies, like, I don't know, like Walmart or Best Buy or whatever, these Fortune 500 companies, they can't make those quick adjustments. So it's a little bit easier for us per se to kind of like deal with some of these challenges and deal with them on the fly.
Also, flexibility with time when you're looking at it in regard to dealing with the pandemic and being an entrepreneur and the importance of it. Say, for instance, you're working a 9 to 5. You don't have the flexibility of time to take a vacation or to take sick time or be away from the office for long periods of time. So what it's taught me in regard to lessons about flexibility is being grateful to have the time to be able to kind of maneuver in my own way and the freedom of time to kind of make my own decisions regarding working from home and that type of thing.
Yeah, I think we're talking about something that's really important, and especially when comparing it to how we as citizens are dealing with the virus and that flexibility and to be able to, make quick decisions. I have single friends that don't have kids, and for them going through the pandemic isn't that drastic of a change as it is for friends that I have that have big families. For my single friends, it's just pretty much just Netflix on TV. They go grab some grub and work from home. With my friends that have families, it's a bigger issue because you have to deal with your kids in school and dealing with elders if you have family living with them, what to do with full-blown mortgages and college funds and all this other stuff. It's a whole lot of extra things like those big corporations that they have to try and sort through. Whereas, the entrepreneurs in this world who are seemingly like a family all to themselves, a family of one, you can just adjust so much faster. Time isn't as big of an issue because all of those resources are only spent on one thing, and that is your business and or yourself if you're in the pandemic.
I think another lesson that entrepreneurs can learn from this is that the importance of living a laptop lifestyle, being able to work from home, being able to work from wherever you are in the moment, that lesson is huge, especially in entrepreneurship, because then your income, your business, your whatever it is that you are creating doesn't have to stop just because the world is shutting down or just because you have to stay safe at home. And I think that lesson is a blessing for a lot of us because then we don't have to depend on driving into the office or trying to please a boss or making it to a virtual team meeting on time. So it's more of creating an independence and realizing how valuable that really is.
Absolutely. You know what else I kind of learned too during all of this pandemic that kind of correlates to business as well? And when it comes to wearing masks with the pandemic, a lot of people may not have your best interest at heart, and they'll just walk out and, cough and sneeze and run and jog and breathe heavily all over the place without covering their face. And what I got out of that regarding this topic is nobody is going to care for your business as much as you are going to care for your business. Nobody's going to care about your well-being during this pandemic as much as you are going to want to care for your well-being. I've realized that when I go out into this world regarding the virus, I have to wear my mask. I have to make sure that my family is safe. I have to be very aware of my environment because the only person that's going to make me be safe is me. And when it comes to my business as well, you can listen to all of the super gurus you want and read as many books regarding people that are already successful. But unless you can figure out a way to translate it to your own business to make it successful, those books and those gurus aren't necessarily going to hold you by the hand to help you get to the next step, unless you have a mentor, of course, but that's a little bit different. You have to take a legitimate stake in your business. It's your business. Those books and those meetings that you go to are not going to be the ones getting you up in the morning to make sure that you get your tasks completed. When you go out into the world, you are responsible for wearing your mask. No one's going to protect your lungs and your family like you are. So there is like a greater sense of responsibility for the things that are important to you regarding your body and or your business. Does any of that resonate with you?
In entrepreneurship in general, you have to take responsibility for your own success. I mean, it's especially if you're a business of one, or you're the CEO of your business, or you're in charge of making the decisions. That responsibility absolutely falls on your shoulders. No one else is going to value your success or your failure like you are if it's your business. I mean, and even people that work 9-to-5s, they know that you're working for somebody else, you're helping somebody else succeed. But when it's your own thing, your own vision, your own mission that you're trying to accomplish, then you're the one that has to put 100% effort. You're the one that has to have 100% responsibility for everything that happens, because the success or failure of it lies strictly with you. So I agree 100% with what you're saying.
The pandemic has also given us a lot of just idle time. What are you doing with it?
It's interesting though, because it can be considered idle time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't consider it idle time because I feel like every minute of the day is filled up with something. And I know that's not the situation for everyone. But between cooking and exercising and trying to create a source of income and checking on family and friends, I mean, for me, there's not a lot of idle time. I think it's important, if you are an entrepreneur and you want to be successful, you have to use that time. And if it is idle time, turn it into time that's actually working towards something and creating something. So I guess it depends on how you view your time and what you do with it. Do you consider there to be idle time during this pandemic?
No, not really. If anything, my time seems to be being spent faster. We were just having a conversation of how quickly time is moving as a result of the pandemic. But we've done a pretty decent job of having daily tasks that we have to get done, which really chews up the time. But then there are other people who do have like tons of idle time and spend countless hours watching Netflix and Hulu and whatever streaming service that they have available. I think it is important to have a good understanding of the time that is being spent, because regardless of what you do with it, that time is going to get spent. So you can either spend it watching Netflix, or you can spend it researching something or doing something to increase the speed of your business, or whatever that you can use use that time as a resource instead of just something to just watch pass by.
Well, and another thing, I know you mentioned Netflix, but there are things to watch on Netflix that could actually help you grow your business as well. Or, there's things that you can learn from, documentaries you can learn from, even the movies that we watch in order to do our Couple of Critics episodes, which we love. Check them out. Mm-hmm. So I think it just depends. Like you said, just how do you use it so that it can be productive?
I think there's an importance too of thinking about not all idle time has to be spent poring over spreadsheets or poring over entrepreneurial books. That time can be spent positively in meditation. It could be spent positively in spending time with your family to alleviate stress, exercising, eating better. There's a lot of different ways that time can be spent outside of a cerebral lesson that needs to be learned, or being the manager of the year for your business, just as long as it's something positive that could either alleviate your stress, move your business forward, or just bring more happiness to yourself and your family.
I agree. As far as one of the biggest lessons that an entrepreneur can learn from this pandemic, but it's not always all about speed, even though we do feel a sense of urgency because of the pandemic and some of our bank accounts dwindling. But sometimes it's about growth, personal growth, financial growth, entrepreneurial growth. And so that can look different for different people, but it's still, you're able to kind of take a little bit of time and figure out what works best for you and your family. And that can include slowing down a little bit sometimes, but not losing focus on what your goals are.
Yeah. Millions of Americans received stimulus checks, boosted unemployment benefits. These are all resources that our government decided could help keep people afloat during this time of hardship. Is there anything that you can think of on how that mentality could correlate with your own business? Like, could your business use a stimulus bump?
Every part of me could use a stimulus bump, especially given our current situation. But definitely, I know, I'll just use you for example, if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. Whatever, I won't call it, not disposable income, because it's not disposable, but whatever income that you happen to receive, mm-hmm. I know that you always put it back into our businesses or back into the family. So that, I think, is a great example, because then it helps you to continue to grow your business versus just living off of what it is that's available, which I think is extremely important, because then you're not stagnant or you're not losing income. You're actually reinvesting it back into your business so that it can grow, and then you can have more income. So I think that that's a perfect example of how to actually use any income that you may receive. What do you think about the whole stimulus, and do you think that you should reinvest, or how do you think that money should be used as an entrepreneur?
As an entrepreneur, I think money should be reinvested within the business to increase its value, increase the speed in which things get done, and to alleviate stress. So if there is any type of stimulus that you can give your business, I think you should. I think it's easy for all of us to want to just scrape the cream off the top and live a better lifestyle. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. But I do think that if you want your business to grow faster and you to just have more confidence in watching your beautiful business bud and grow, then the best way to do that is to reinvest those resources. Give your business the stimulus that it needs instead of maybe going to get a steak dinner or going to cop that new pair of Jordans. There's something to be learned about leadership within your field or people that are considered leaders of your industry. And I say that in correlation with what's going on with the country and the virus, is that sometimes your leaders may not necessarily have it right. Maybe they're not using the best model that doesn't suit your business. For example, our leadership did some things regarding stimulus money to help other richer corporations and companies become richer. And it may not necessarily have helped your industry because you're a smaller type of entrepreneur, or may not have listened to other world leaders regarding the best way to handle this virus. And that can kind of be correlated as well regarding like finding YouTube gurus or getting advice for people who may not necessarily serve your business best interests because it's a different area. Maybe their intentions are strictly to make money and not necessarily to give value. But overall, I think that you have to kind of like look at the leaders within your field or within our nation and see if the decisions that they are making in their industry or within the country as a whole are beneficial to you as it is to themselves. How do you feel about that? Where does the responsibility fall on that affecting you as a person, as a citizen, and you as a business owner? Should you make your own decisions or should you just follow with blind faith?
Within your industry, we've talked about kind of looking to leaders as far as people who have great ideas or something that's an idea in the industry that you might be pursuing. But as with everything, you look at something, you look at the pros and cons of it, you look at if it has value for you in your particular business or your mission or what you're trying to achieve. And then with everything, like with every idea, you can change it, you can make it better, you can adjust it so that it suits your purpose. So of course, I don't think you should have blind faith in following some guru or some leader. You have to have your own mind, your own opinion, do your own research in order to be able to make the best decision for you, your business, and your family. So I definitely don't think that blind faith is something that you should have with anybody. Sometimes not even with yourself.
All right, well, that's a good place if you need to stick a pin in it. We did a pretty half decent job of trying to compare how we adjust with the changes of our country regarding the virus and how to adjust with the changes of your business as an entrepreneur. Let us know how you feel. Have you seen any correlation regarding the direction that we're going as a country and the direction that you're going as a business owner? If so, leave them in the comments and we'll be sure to give you our 2 cents because you have been listening to The Couple of Entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Do us and yourself a huge favor and smash that subscribe button. It'll let you know whenever we drop new episodes and you will be up to date with the ins and outs of entrepreneurship. Thank you all. Peace out.